Hi, I'm Sana Raja. I'm the principal architect and founder at Sana Raja Designs. We are a multidisciplinary architecture and interior design studio based in Ahmedabad. Founded in 2021, we have successfully completed 40 plus projects and are currently designing over 40,000 square feet of spaces across dimensions of architecture, hospitality, interior design, residential, and commercial zones. So I would say I've always been very observant as a child. I have been of a curious mind. I've always wanted to sketch, draw, look at things, observe things better. So that's how I've always been. And I would say in the entire journey, a major part that one person has played for me has to be my mother. I've always seen her design things, create things. She has always brought color, I would say, in my personality also. She would say, she would always make me look at things. She would do a lot of tactile work. So I've always been involved in all of those things around my mother. So she has really inspired my journey since childhood. And and now I would say it has influenced the way I travel, the way I look at things, how I speak to people, how I observe people. So yeah, I would really say that my observant and curious nature has kind of created that journey for me. So it is definitely more than an accessory. It is art is something that brings emotion to a built environment, I would say. Uh, it is something that is not imposed upon. It is something that you design around or you kind of make it a part of the space. So I definitely think that it is more than an accessory when it comes to a space design. And especially in architecture and interiors, it kind of evokes an emotion. The moment you enter a room, how the light changes. For me, art is not just like a piece of, let's say, a 2x4 hung on a wall. It is more than that. It's how you enter a space and it kind of evokes an emotion in you. How colors change, how lights change, how textures change. So yeah, for me, definitely it is very important for a space and more vital. Like I said, that art is not just something, is not just a piece on the wall. One of the projects that I would like to highlight here is most definitely a private residence that I recently finished. It's called Ashiana, wherein the entire vertical connection, which was the staircase, we designed a helical staircase, a floating helical staircase that itself became an art piece for the entire space. And it was a very close collaboration with the fabricator, with the lighting designer, and all of those people, all of those agencies got involved in that process. So, designing and building mock-ups for that particular staircase, kind of making it happen, keeping the structural integrity in mind, along with the design view also not being lost, is one of the experiences that I would like to highlight. Another one that I would like to, that comes on the top of my mind, is while we are doing the head office of German TMT. It's a TMT bar company. So how, not on a macro scale, but on a micro scale, let's say the tabletops are made out of TMT bars, partitions are made out of TMT bars, the light installations are of metal mesh. We've kind of placed their products in their experience center to be a part of the design and not be placed as an imposing factor on the design itself. So yeah, I mean, these would be the two highlights that I'd like to mention here. So completely, I feel like every time you design a space, budget is a very important factor that has to be kept in mind. Um, I think as designers, it is our duty to kind of explain the impact that art would bring in a space and how the energy of a space would change the moment you introduce some sort of art in it. It is more about explaining to them that how it is not an optional expense. It is something that is not a commodity. It is something that will kind of evoke an emotion in you the moment you enter into a space. So rather than treating art as an afterthought or an optional commodity or an optional expense, I think as designers, it is our duty to explain the clients how it is something that would kind of elevate the experience of a space and help them plan it better. So completely. Um, while we are designing spaces, we keep in mind what kind of emotion needs to be evoked in a person the moment they walk into the space. For example, if it is a commercial space, anybody walking into this space has to feel more strengthened, energetic, bold. They have to feel more confident into the space. So the kind of art also that you're placing into a commercial space needs to be more of like motivational, strong, commanding, versus let's say a home or a restaurant where people need to feel more muted, mellow. So the moment you look at some art piece, you should kind of get that feeling in you. So most definitely, if it's a commercial space versus a residential space, art can completely change the way you look at a space. So what happens when an art advisor is involved in the process? It becomes more of a collaboration than a search. When you're looking at any artworks, not everybody can have the right knowledge of where what needs to be placed. And with the help of an art advisor or an art curator, the journey just becomes much more easier and meaningful. Uh, because yes, you might look at an art piece and feel, oh, this is beautiful. But how do I use it is where the advisor comes into the picture. Which particular, for example, being an interior designer too, I can say, if I look at a wall, I do know that this particular wall requires an art piece. But what kind of an art piece, how big, how small, is something where the art advisor should actually come into the picture. Art is an emotion and it is very personal. So, with the help of someone who is well equipped with the knowledge of how something needs to be placed in a place, I feel, yeah, just the collaboration becomes much easier rather than it being like a search, I would say. I'd like to dissect this question into two segments. The first segment would be from my travels and journeys. Being in Milan, doing my master's there, studying there, there are a few artists that I would like to highlight that have kind of shaped the way I have looked at art. For example, Studio Nendo. I would say Studio Swine. I've seen their installations at the Milan Design Festival also. These are somewhat like experiential artworks, like the Bubble Tree by Studio Swine and by Nendo, how the entire space was converted into an experiential art zone. On the other hand, one of the other highlights I would like to say is about the Budapest Memorial, the iron shoes that are placed by the Danube, how that evokes kind of an emotion in you. Or for example, let's say the 9/11 Memorial. So all of these are different experiences that you get once you enter a space, and I think art brings that out on you. The second segment of this question, I would like to say that for me, one standout experience was this entire staircase building. Because the moment you think of a space, the easiest way out is either a dog-legged or just a routine staircase that we conventionally do. But to be able to make it floating along with it being in a 40 feet high space, along with it being of different materials that we wanted to incorporate, it was a close collaboration with all the agencies involved. So, yeah, I mean, design and art go hand in hand and they should be dealt with it like that. So, I would say that the most important thing in all of this would be the intent. anybody who is designing a space should have that intent of designing a space keeping art in mind. Uh, Networking, close collaborations, more such art galleries and spaces wherein one can come experience these things, more talks around art, more displays. All of these would kind of help us as architects and designers also to kind of understand the importance of art and intently put it in any space that we are designing in order to not make it feel imposed, but part of the space.